Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Anonymous, and in this channel, we talk about gang stalking, we talk about manipulation, we talk about psychology, and in this video, I want to talk to you about finally discovering the way out. So, that bit of information that literally said that pretty much gang stalking is a way of turning your mind against you. Um, so I have been not dwelling, but thinking, try to expand this same idea. And I have developed a new technique that I know that it is the answer. I just know for sure. Look, so one thing that I have noticed from the very beginning was that I was wondering, why is it that it gang stalking has to be constant, right? Like, well, let me tell you. So it has to be a constant input of things that remind you of gang stalking. So, for example, all the noises, everything, all of that drives in confusion. And one thing is that, let me see, where do I start? The way that it gets you is when you're trying to figure it out, and when you're trying to like keep an eye on people. Like if someone is there and they're hiding, you're like, oh, they're hiding there, or like, oh, they're doing this for that. Or when you're trying to explain everything that they do, um, that's the exact thing that you should stop. Like, you should not question or wonder or think about anything that has to do with gang stalking. Like, nothing. You completely have to not ignore it, but you have to actively skip or avoid thinking about it. And it's something that is incredibly hard to do. So listen, when the thing is that gang stalking gets, it becomes an engulfing of your mind, because it is so constant, and then you're constantly thinking about it. The thinking about it is what fucks you up. So, for example, as soon as something reminds you of anything that has to do with gang stalking, a voice, a chirp, a noise, you have to just cancel that thought, and you have to keep forcing your mind to think about things that you want to think about. So one thing that I have noticed is that whenever there is a gang stalking thought coming into my head, I just move my eyes really fast to avoid that thought, and I replace it with something. And you have to do it, and you have to try to watch things, and whenever you hear anything that is like gang stalking related, or see and you feel the thought of anything related with gang stalking, like a person somewhere hiding or whatever, you have to avoid thinking about it. So you kind of have to pull your mind out of that, and then refocus. You have to regain your focus on whatever it is. Um, One thing, I also realized something really important. And this really important thing that I discovered was that, um, in my store, well, gang stalk, when you believe that everyone is a gang stalker, that means that you're hypnotized. That means that you're stuck. And when you are not hypnotized, you actually are you will be able to differentiate between people who are gang stalkers and people who are not. But when you're hypnotized, you're not going to see the difference, because the entire operation is about training your mind on looking for, it's pretty much, you're looking for those movements, you're looking for those words, you're looking for them, and then you use those words as a confirmation of whoever is saying them. That is as a confirmation of them actually being a gang stalker, of them actually harassing you. However, that is not true. So what I have found that has most effectively keep me disconnected is to never assume that anyone is a gang stalker, regardless of what they do, regardless of what they say, regardless of anything, regardless of how certain and of how much the clues there are there of. And when your mind tells you that they are, don't listen to it, because it will be wrong at one point. The thing is that when you start using these words as confirmation, everyone is going to say these words, because these words are pretty much common words and it's designed that way. So this is gonna disconnect you immediately. And whenever you feel that someone is watching you, who cares? It's not gonna do anything. Ignore that and just focus on what you're doing. Also, the moment that you start antagonizing the words that gang stalkers are using, that means that you're connected. That means that you're fucked. And when you start feeling that, you start feeling that everyone that is saying those words is a gang stalker. So whenever you feel that everyone is a gang stalker, that's your clue to ignore it and automatically assume that they're not. So pretty much, gang stalking is hypnotizing you with words, with sounds, so that you use them as confirmation that everyone who is saying those words is a gang stalker. But trust me, they're not. Listen, I woke up in the middle of it while I was watching the signs. But the truth is that it's not that people are doing anything differently. It's that your brain is looking for those. You're trained to look for those things. So there's going to be a point where you're not going to see any difference in between people who are gang stalkers and people who are not. So seriously, never ever, if you want to keep your sanity, you have to not involve yourself in what they're doing. You have to not care. If someone is driving your car, it might be someone, it might not. But you cannot be trying to figure it out. Because the moment that you're trying to figure that out, you start getting confused. And there's going to be a point where your mind and the words and the voices and the echoes, all of those are going to just mash up together. And then you're going to end up believing, and then you're going to end up interacting with whatever it is. Your mind will eventually be convinced, because your mind will get tired. So what you have to do is just not pay any attention, regardless of how hard it might be. You have to not pay any attention to it, and you have to not give it any thought. Most importantly, you cannot give it any thought, because the moment that you start giving it thought, it starts absorbing you. So you literally just have to not. That simple. Never assume that anyone is a gang stalker. So whenever that happens, now you can see the truth. You're gonna see who is actually trying to hypnotize you. You can see where. So I found out that I get most of my hypnotization at work. I think that it is so that I would make a mistake at work and I will lose my job. That's what I feel like what's happening. The moment that you start treating everyone like you start antagonizing everyone, and then you start being mean, that's when you're hypnotized. Also, one thing that I have found out, that I have used now, that you can actually, when you're hypnotized, that is your safeguard, is to do the offending just like they do it. Talk in double speak, because that way you can always deny it. So instead of calling someone fat, just say like, "Oh, I feel so fat today," and then just use their own techniques. If you're angry and you need to express it, but you don't want to get in trouble, you always want evidence, or you want to not leave any evidence. You want to do it the way they do it, because they're masters at this. real gang stalkers are gonna offend you indirectly. So if you wanna offend them to make yourself feel better, to get that aggression out, you all you have to do is literally just use the same techniques. Use the same techniques. That's it. Just for example, like there was a customer who I know, I think I know that he wasn't a gang stalker. But again, I assume because I was connected at that point, at that moment. So when that happened, I looked for what can I how can I offend him, because he's already offended, he's already using the gang stalking signals. So what you do is pretty much, if this guy was well this guy was fat, and this guy had no hair. So I was like, oh my god, I hate that I have so much hair. Oh, it's such a hassle. And then, but just say it in that tone of voice that is like, um, that tone of voice that you're trying to mean something else, but you're saying the opposite. Or you're saying, oh, I hate that my love handles, even though you might not have any. You can just say, oh, my love handles are getting on my way. And just when you notice the love handles on the other person. So this is the thing. Only gang stalkers are gonna understand what you're saying, because that is what gang stalkers do. Normal people that had not been initiated, they're only gonna see the first layer. They're not gonna know what you're talking about. They're actually gonna think that you're saying what you're saying, but not the meaning behind it. That is how you're able to express your aggression in a safe manner. And no one can use anything that you say against you. Does that make sense? So that way it's safe. The way that gang stalkers try to annoy you, you do it the same way. The thing is that the fact that you have been annoyed by the little signals, the moving of your eye, but by the sudden um, uh, loud tone of voice, when that happens, well, you notice that and that annoys you, because many people have done this to you. So people that haven't been gang stalked are gonna think that you're kind of weird, but you're not gonna get in trouble because you're not doing anything that can get you in trouble. One thing is that don't whisper anything under your breath, because that can be very dangerous. Because I did it one time, and I was like, no, they can actually tell you, no, this person said something under their breath. So don't say anything under their breath. Just do everything indirectly. Everything. Don't use your same tactics to go. How do you say? To do the same thing that they do, in order for you to not be caught. And like, for example, when I had the customer with the love handles, right? And I said, oh, my love handles, um, the customer is not gonna know if I'm talking about her. She might have a clue, but she has no evidence, because I did not. That's what I said. I said, oh my god, my love handles, they're so annoying. They're so big, or you know what I mean. So that way, they cannot. They have no evidence. So if you're connected, and you want to take your aggression, do it the same way that they take their aggression on you. That way, you don't focus on you're not just victimized, and you are not just getting hurt all the time. That way, you feel like you have some power. Now, um, when you feel like you have to do this to everyone, there's when you should be like, okay, that's that's when you feel that everyone is a gang stalker. Like you automatically just know that they're a gang stalker. That is when you should stop. And well, I took my aggression for a little bit, and I will do that here and there. But from now on, I'm gonna literally just assume that no one is a gang stalker, and regardless of how short I may be, because gang stalkers are not gang stalking. They're not gang stalking me anymore. They're trying to connect me, which is very different from actually gang stalking you. Gang stalking is when they're being continuously annoying, purposely, when you're not connected, where you can still differentiate between people who are normal and between people who are not. So, again, the moment that you believe that everyone is a gang stalker, you have to be like, okay, I'm connected. And the moment that that those gang stalkers who want you connected and that they see that you're not, they're gonna be more aggressive, and they're gonna be doing the things that they do on your peripheral vision, um, with more emphasis, with more aggression. And even so, when that's happening to you, don't assume that they're a gang stalker. Just assume that no one is, regardless of what they do, regardless of what they say. It's extremely hard, I know. But the moment that you feel that everyone is involved is when you start getting connected. So, um, you have to pull back your mind into whatever it is that you're doing. You have to focus on what you are doing. You cannot focus, oh, he's a gang stalker because he's doing the sign. No. Don't even question that. Make it not your business. Don't think about it. Refocus your mind on yourself, on the things that you like. This is why. Um, your mind, the more that your mind goes over something, you're gonna be thinking about it more. So, like, when gang stalkers are whispering voices, you know, they're gonna pop up at random times. That's why the voices a lot of times don't stop, because everyone is doing these little voices, and your mind just does that by itself. Why do you think that whenever you hear a song that you enjoy with your entire being, and then you're like hanging out, and all of a sudden the song replays in your mind? That it's because that's how the mind works, and that's what I found today. Today I learned how the mind works. I finally understood how what I finally found out what they know that I didn't. And it's exactly that. That's why the gang stalking is is everywhere. Like when you're at work, everyone has to be involved, and everyone is doing weird things. So they're thinking about it. So they're questioning everything. Are they a gang stalker or not? Is this are they doing the gang stalking sign? Because if those thoughts are gonna be on your forehead, always present, and when they're gang stalkers or not, guess what? The thoughts are gonna pop up randomly, boom, 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 and guess what? It's gonna boom. It's gonna pull you back in. Like right now, I'm feeling my car shaking, like if someone is behind me, but I am not imagining anyone behind me. I am completely ignoring the voices because it is not my business if they're there or not. I don't care. I only care about sharing this information with you. I will explain to you more about the mechanics of the mind because it is crucial for you to understand this. Because this, guys, is the solution. It is the solution. It is so today, because I was practicing this thing that I learned. Guess what? I was going out, I was just hanging out, and a song that I was listening to just popped up instead of the gang stalkers. I was the things I was thinking of something, and then guess what? A thought of a memory that I had popped up. When in the past, something, only things that were gang stalker related were popping up. So, it is my first day doing this, and I'm already seeing incredible results. Guys, this is the solution. We've got it. We have the solution to gang stalking. I knew we were gonna find it. It was just a matter of time. We fucking finally got it, guys. We fucking did it. Now, I will share with you tomorrow more what else is happening. Today, I disconnected 2 hours after being at work, and they did not connect me the entire day. By denying regardless of what I see, regardless of how they made me feel, regardless of anything that proves that they're a gang stalker, just assume that they're not. And regardless of how convinced you are, and regardless of how much pain and annoyance and whatever it is, assume it with all your conviction, that they're not a gang stalker. And whenever you hear a thought or you hear a voice, ignore it. You have to just focus on what you're doing. You have to completely reject any type of thought and refuse to entertain it with everything that you've got. And you have to refuse to allow any type of thought of gang stalking, regardless of it being a voice. Listen, when the voices come and you ignore them, only the first whisper that the people do are going to be present. For example, when they say, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, if you don't pay any attention to it, you're only going to hear, what the fuck, and the voice is not going to evolve into anything else. It is not going to have a conversation with you because you're not feeding it any new information. You're keeping your thoughts to yourself. You're keeping your thoughts on what you want to keep your thoughts on. So, practice maintaining your focus on one thing. That's why gang stalkers are always trying to keep you entertained. They're always trying to cut your thought process because they want to make you forget about how to maintain focus. So, and let me tell you, there's going to be times where they're going to get you, where you're going to be just catch yourself thinking about whatever it is. But listen, gang stalking began like this, and with time it grew. So, it is a process that will take time for you to get your mind back. But you will have it back because it's yours. And it is you who is in control of what and what not you focus on. Gang stalkers are trying to change that, but they only can influence it indirectly. They can make you think of them by doing things. But you are the only one that actually has the real control of your mind. Therefore, they can only gang stalk you if you allow it. It is you who had the power all along. But we just didn't know what was the power that they had, that you didn't know. And I'm going to tell you more about how I'm practicing this, and I'm going to keep you updated on how to exercise your mental prowess and how to keep your mind to yourself, and on how to keep it only thinking about the things that make you happy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please share, please like, and subscribe to this channel because we got the solution. And not only that, the more we share this information, the less power gang stalking is going to have. Gang stalking is only powerful because they understand something that most of us didn't. And that is pretty much the simple fact that in order for you to become crazy, they just have to, or to be obsessed with something. It's actually, it takes a lot of different things, which we already have covered, but as long as you don't think about it, you're gonna be free. They're gonna be trying to make you think about it in as many ways as possible. And trust me, they have found them. And the more we share this information, the better. This is the first channel in the history of the fucking world with the actual freaking solution to gang stalking, guys. I told you this was gonna be the actual playbook where you learn about all the, what's it called? All the tactics, all the manipulations, all the tricks about everything. And we got it down. I told you it was a matter of time. And it only took me like 4 months to like actually figure that out. But in the beginning, I was connected most of the time, and I didn't know what actually I was looking for. So let me tell you, I feel pretty damn proud about this. And I am so excited to share all of this information with the world. Thank you guys. I love you guys so much. Bye.